Good morning, everyone. I'm Anthony Williams. I'm chairperson of the BPIA Awards committee this year and also last year. And I'd like to welcome you most sincerely to what is essentially a workshop on how to submit your entries and why it's so important to actually be part of this world-class event. And we certainly hope you are going to be part of this event. We see a lot of names here today of people who haven't entered before, and that excites us very much. So I'd like to just introduce myself, which I already have, and also Stephanie Griffiths. You can't see her picture, but you will see her shortly. She has a problem with her computer, unfortunately. And it's quite a pity because she did her hair and all for this morning. But anyway, that's how it goes. We will go straight into the presentation. You will be given a chance to ask questions afterwards, anything you like, of myself and Stephanie. And during the presentation, you may ask questions as well via the Q&A facility at the bottom of the screen. And that's actually the method of asking your questions. So please feel free to add your questions there and we will respond to them afterwards. Thanks so much. These are our 34th BPI Industry Awards.
And sorry, the sound isn't playing there. You can maybe just help us there.
Okay, just hold on.
Raising the standard
Is that helping?
for yourself and for your peers in the industry.
Yep. Yes, thank you.
All right.
Well, I suppose everyone has a different reason for wanting to enter an industry award. For me, one of the best reasons to enter is the fact that as principal officers or officials in the retirement industry, we very seldom get to see our peers and the other people who are doing what we do. We meet each other at the international conferences and the local conferences, such as the IRFA, but we don't have a chance to discuss what we're doing, how we're doing it, and maybe if we're doing something special. The idea of entering an retirement industry, we very seldom get to see our peers and the other people who are doing what we do. We meet each other at the international conferences and the local conferences, such as the IRFA, but we don't have a chance to discuss what we're doing, how we're doing it, and maybe if we're doing something special. The idea of entering an awards program for me is to benchmark myself against the industry and to see if there are things I can do differently or maybe do better. And when you enter, when you have an entry in the competition, you get feedback from the judges. So you might not win this year. Next year you work a little bit harder, you improve your processes, and it's a way of raising the standard for yourself and for your peers in the industry and really seeing where you stand. I must emphasize it's a case of touch of my chance. I meet so many fellow principal officers who don't want to enter because they think they don't have anything worth showcasing or they've done nothing special. Let me tell you, everyone has done something special.
Well, welcome to our 2021 Best Practices Industry Awards webinar. As I've just told you earlier, this is fully interactive, and after the presentations, you'll be given a chance to ask your questions and also to provide feedback. Your presenters today are myself, Anthony Williams. I'm CEO of the SABC Pension Fund. I'm also your BPIA champion, and my co-presenter is Stephanie Griffiths. Stephanie serves as our external program moderator, and she's been doing that for many, many years. Please feel free to contact either of us for assistance after the presentation. I must reiterate that the IRFA pledges its full support to give this program the recognition it deserves, and it certainly has a high reputation in the industry in South Africa as well as in Africa. We will showcase the excellence of the entries as well as the entrants in a prominent forum. There will be an award ceremony, whether it's virtual, which I think it will be again this year, or when circumstances change in future years, we will have some form of celebration, even if it's just at the conference. The IRFA also will capitalize on the program's benefits for entrants and non-entrants alike. And we will definitely support our winners with far-reaching communication publicity. They are widely publicized, and I think everyone who's won before will attest to that. Why do we champion the awards program? Well, the awards program has always been the recognition of the professionalism and excellence of the players in our industry. It's been an encouragement of a culture of excellence in the industry and in Africa at large for all pension funds. The motivation of the industry is to evaluate, review, and upgrade fund processes. And finally, to create a greater understanding and awareness of the value of retirement funds in South Africa and also beyond our borders. I'd like to give you a short clip, a word from one of our judges from the 2020 awards program, and she, I think, will be judging this year as well. So please listen carefully to what she says.
Hello and welcome to the IRFA Best Practices Industry Awards. My name is Nerina Visser and I'm the president of the Chartered Financial Analyst Society South Africa, and it was my privilege to be one of the judges this year on these awards. I had the opportunity to review several of the entrants into these, covering categories such as stakeholder engagement and education, trustee development, and investment practices. And let me just say, I was really blown away by the quality of the submissions that I had the opportunity to review. I really tried to focus not so much just on the actual submissions, but rather on the work that went in behind the scenes right throughout the year. I'm very appreciative of the fact that some of the larger funds might have lots of resources to put together very good submissions for these type of awards. So I really wanted to focus on identifying where true work was being done according to very good industry standards. So I really want to compliment especially the smaller funds where it was very apparent that they are walking the walk, that they're really living the values to which they espouse. If you are one of the winners today, congratulations, and let that be an inspiration for you to do even better next year. If you are not one of the winners, I really want to encourage you to continue doing the good work. This is ultimately not just about winning the awards, but this is ultimately about delivering the value to our members, helping them to secure a safe and a wealthy and a prosperous retirement. It's ultimately about our members, about the stakeholders in this industry, and I really want to encourage you to continue the great work that you are doing. Well done.
Thank you so much, Nerina. And we hope to see Nerina as a judge this year as well. Just to give you some background on the awards, as I said, this is our 34th year. I haven't been involved in all those years. Stephanie has been involved in quite a few more years than I have, probably 15 or 20 or maybe even 32 of those 34 years. But I won't give Stephanie's age away. How did the awards initially happen? Well, initially this started as a communication challenge, and that's all it was. You entered your communication project and there was one award and perhaps a few runner-up awards and maybe one for the best singer. I'm not quite sure. But From that very humble beginning, 33 years ago, this program gradually evolved because there was a need for additional categories. And the IRFA, the IRF at that stage, wanted to align itself with best practices across the world and internationally. So it eventually evolved into 6 additional categories. And then finally, we had a gold standard award for entrants who meet all the criteria across all the categories. So that's a very special award, the gold standard, and you'll hear more about that later. But it's really an all-encompassing awards program, and whatever project you've done, wherever you want to fit in, you will find a place to fit in, and you will be able to, I'm sure, at least submit 1 entry, although we do hope that you will submit more than 1. Tata chance, as I said earlier. I can assure you that there's a very rigorous and a quantifiable judging process, ensuring impartiality and consensus, and at least 2 judges view each entry. If they cannot agree on something, they will call in the moderator, so then you have 3 judges, and sometimes even 4. Our judges are all subject matter experts. They represent allied associations to the IRFA, and they are both local as well as international. They judge on a best practice judging checklist, which is based on research and benchmarking, and I can assure you it's up to world-class standards. Why should you enter? And at this stage, I need to tell you why I personally do enter. About 7 years ago, I had never entered an awards program in my life. I had seen the IRFA winners each year, and I always thought that I surely wasn't good enough, as do many of us. And one year I decided on a whim to enter. I didn't win anything. It was most disappointing. I got these comments back, and I suddenly realized that I didn't understand the process. I didn't understand how I should have crafted my entry, what it should have looked like. I was very much in the dark. The next time I entered, I put a little bit more effort into it, and I discovered there were things like measurement that I needed to hone in on, the structure of my work plan, my work samples. So bit by bit, and eventually on the 3rd attempt, I won a consolation award. It was a frog. I have it very proudly in my display cabinet, and it was a special consolation kind of award. They cast it in very nice terms. But that very first award gave me the impetus to want to do better. And I did some more research. I studied the brochure, and the following year I did actually win another award. And when I say I speak as the Royal I. It's actually the SABC Pension Fund. From that humble beginning, the pension fund was encouraged to enter some international awards. And bit by bit, we won a local award here, an international award there, until currently where the fund has just under 20 local awards and 20 international awards over the past 7 or 8 years. And I'm very proud of those because they belong to the SABC Pension Fund, but it's given the trustees of the pension fund the assurance that we do our best. I always say, if you win an award, it doesn't mean that you're the best. It means that you showcased correctly. Perhaps somebody who was better than you didn't enter. It's just an indication that you're doing something that's right. It does not mean that it was totally right. And every year we take into account the comments we receive. We try to improve. We advertise this to our members and our pensioners. It gives them the assurance that the trustees, the principal officer, the management of the fund are doing their best to ensure that they uphold the standards that are acceptable in this industry. And that is why you should enter. It will give you the confidence that you are doing something right. And every single fund, every single individual in that fund, if you look deeply, you will find something that you do that somebody else doesn't do. Don't think that it's not good. Don't think it's not good enough. Don't make the mistake I did. Enter it and try. And if you're not successful this year, maybe next year you will be. And I promise you, you will be eventually successful. It's not difficult to win. Follow the directions, read the brochure, find out something special that you do, and you will succeed. I do promise you that. Right, I've done enough talking. I'd like to hand over to Stephanie. And Stephanie is well qualified to assist us with this program. She has many years experience. She's an expert in measurement and research. And she's partnered with the IRFA in the communication processes as well. There isn't a better person that I would recommend.
My name is Stephanie Griffiths, and I'm the Principal of Cohesion Communication Research and Development. For a number of years now, I have been privileged to serve as the course convener and moderator on IRFA's Best Practices Industry Awards program. Over the years that I have been privileged to serve, I have noticed not only the number of entries increasing exponentially, but also the quality and standard of some of the program's strategies under review. Serving as a judge not only on this program, but as a judge on several international awards programs, may I assure you that some of the stuff that I've seen is amongst the best in the world. My name.
Over to you, Steph.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Can everybody hear me?
We can.
Great. Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. I do appreciate it. It hasn't quite been 32 years, but I have certainly been involved with the IRFA Best Practices Awards for the last 10 years or so, and have been privileged to be part of the team that has modified the program and enhanced the program to include the additional categories, the rigorous judging processes, which we will speak about as we move forward. I'm sure all our potential entrants would like to know what they would receive if they are successful. IRFA awards best practice certificates to entry scoring above 75%. And I must stress on this, irrespective of fund size. Gold standard trophies go to the funds who meet the defined criteria in all categories and have entered for these. In addition, we give special merit certificates at the judge's discretion for practices, strategies, or programs with the wow factor. Anthony, are you going to move these on, or should I be doing it?
I will be doing it.
Thank you. All right. So what do we need from you? And I think this is critically important for everybody. We have the process called for a work plan and for a work sample. This year's entry again will be online, and we use an internationally recognized online awards program. The link is as follows. And I do believe that the presentation will be available to anybody who needs it after the session. On this platform, you will be able to upload Word documents, PDFs, videos, and hyperlinks, making your entry process easy and seamless. As I've said, you will have to complete an entry form online, provide a work plan, and a work sample. In terms of the entry form, please remember to note in which category you are entering. All the categories are listed on the platform and detailed descriptions of what they are. You will be invoiced after your entry on receipt of invoice from IRFA officers. In terms of any confidential information that you might be concerned about, please remember that all entries will be in the public domain. If you have a look at one of the objectives of this program, it's to raise practices in the industry. So we would like to share your best work throughout. However, should you wish any information or material to remain confidential, indicate it clearly. Please mark confidential on the material. And please note all our judges do sign a non-disclosure document. Anthony, a word from another one of our judges, Professor Gloria Walker.
Hi, this is Gloria Walker in London. I was very pleased to be a judge again this year for the awards program. First of all, I want to congratulate everyone who submitted an entry on the outstanding work that you are doing to engage with your members and stakeholders, as well as listen to their concerns. I also want to congratulate the winners. You demonstrated a real commitment to your fund and to achieving the best practices that you can. But entering is not the only benefit. It's important to listen and regard the feedback from the judges so that you can improve your entries as well as your practice for the coming years. Congratulations to everyone who entered, and my particular congratulations to the winners. You did a great job. I look forward to seeing your entries again next year. Bye.
Back to Steph.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anthony. Let's have a look at that work plan and work sample, and these are critical in preparing your entries. Your work plan counts for 50% and your work sample counts for 50%. Without either, your entry will be disqualified. In terms of why we have these two separate entities, your work plan builds the case and informs the judges of your reasoning. Your work sample provides the evidence of what was done and your achievements. Anthony?
Yes.
Could we move on?
Sorry.
All right, my camera is working now, by the way.
I see that. We see your face.
Okay. The work plan, your work plan should detail your business need or opportunity. Now, this is critical. This is where you start on your work plan. Why did you do what you do? What need or opportunity does your entry address? How's it going to affect your fund or the organization that employs you? Please, in this business need, provide a clear description of any issues you are facing and any potential impact these issues could have on performance, reputation, image, participation, etc. And most importantly, and here Anthony will agree with me, please provide us diagnostic, formal or informal research findings which support your candidate's analysis of your need or opportunity. And we'll speak about measurement a little further as we move on. Right, the stakeholders, this is critical in preparing your entry. Ladies and gentlemen, please describe your stakeholders clearly, not just how many they are or where they are. Let's have a look at some of the demographics, some of the psychographics, some of the sociographics factored into developing your solution. It could be as simple as not understanding benefit change or an income based who you are doing this for. Then, always a very sticky point, and my fellow judges will agree with me, your goals and objectives. Please give us your goals and objectives in terms of why you did what you did. There's a clear difference between goals and objectives. Goals describe what the program, strategy, or project was designed to accomplish. Choose one or two key goals and describe these in detail. And these goals should be orientated to your organization's future. Goals are not measurable, but are often lofty. Hello, very important. Should be realistic and measurable and should examine outcomes such as quantity, time, cost, percentages, quality, and most importantly, changes in attitude, understanding, or behavior. You can distinguish between outcome-based objectives and output-based objectives. And then most importantly, how directly do these objectives address your stated need? Thank you, Anthony. All right, next heading, and these headings are online for you in terms of your entry. Let's have a look at your broad solution overview. Please summarize the outputs for the judges and the interventions that you implemented and describe the rationale for your chosen approach. Describe the impact expected on the needs that you put forward. Your solution should demonstrate your thought processes, your imagination, and your approach to problem solving. How effective was this in meeting your stated objectives? Thank you, Anthony. Right, under implementation, what are you going to tell us? How was your strategy, program, or project implemented? And this is where you really do provide the detail. Please give us budgets, give us the time it took, tell us any other resources that you needed. As a judge over the years, in both IRFA Awards programs and the other awards programs, I have seen the most incredible work done with very little money. That is a point in your favor. So please tell us these things. It does not matter if your budget was small. You should show us how you made efficient use of that money. Include your time phrase and describe any limitations or challenges. As judges, we are looking for flexibility and a capacity to resolve problems and negotiate solutions. note any special circumstances, and discuss how they were addressed. Measurement, okay. This is where I'm afraid I tend to get wordy. This, in my mind, is the most important step in the process. Once you decided what you were going to do, how you were going to do it, with what you were going to do it, you did it. Did it work? It doesn't have to be rocket science. It can be full diagnostic and constituent measurement. It can also be as simple as a quick snap survey. But please tie that measurement into your goals. It's a critical step in this process. How did you measure it against your stated objectives? Tell us what you did and include your findings. And quite simply, did it work and how did you check this? Right, that deals with your work plan, which counts 50% of your entry. Let's have a look at your work sample. Please include examples of policies, programs, initiatives, and measurement. Showcase your initiative, creativity, and compliance. Alert the judges to best practices and solutions. It's not budget dependent, but should support your goals and objectives laid out in your work plan. And you can provide this evidence in PDF, AV video, or hyperlink format. What are we going to be looking for as a judging panel? Very importantly, a few years back, IRFA did a best practices research study, of which I was privileged to be part of. It was both local and international and involved extensive literature search as well as measurement of perceived compliance by the South African industry itself. From this research, which we continue to do, we have drawn up checklists for our judges to review the entries. They are not, what's the word I'm looking for, prescriptive in any way, but they are guides for our judges in terms of judging your entries. So let's give you some ideas on what some of those best practices are in terms of the entry categories of IRFA's awards program. After we have a word from one of our last year's judges.
I think be wary of submitting entries that are either ill-prepared or incomplete. I think it's a big letdown when you see an entry that is not well written or that doesn't flow properly, because if you check, each question leads on to the next. So you just get, if you get it wrong early on, you know, the rest of your submission is just going to fall flat, and it's a big letdown for all the hard work put in. So always think of your audience, your judges, make their job easier, you know, impress them with your knowledge of your audience, as well as, you know, your organization, because you are the custodian, so you know best. So make sure that all of that comes through. Especially first-time entrants, if you are uncertain about what you're supposed to do, really take advantage, ask for help, for inputs to make sure that you're doing the correct thing. But yeah, please don't take chances. Don't claim a victory that is supposed to be, you know, the problem that you're addressing. I think in the famous words of some comrades, they say, we can't thank a fish for swimming. So if you're going to make a big point about how transformed you are, yet we know it's a regulatory requirement, make sure at least it goes beyond just the technical numbers, but rather also speaks to the spirit and empathy of embracing, you know, what it entails to transform the industry. Last but not least, if you're not ready, you know, like your campaign only started 6 months in, you know, there's no way that you will fare well at this award. So rather wait your turn next year when you have more material, more evidence to back up your campaigns, and it will always fare better because it will have discernible results with which to compare. Firstly,
back to you, Steph.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. All right, let's have a look at those best practices that we look for in each of the categories. Thank you. Let's have a look at stakeholder engagement. Stakeholder engagement, traditionally we get the most entries in this particular category. Stakeholder engagement and education. Okay. Let's have a look at appropriate strategies and goals, measurable objectives, clear identification of all stakeholders, and the process that you used, diagnosis, planning, implementation, or measurement. Thank you, Anthony. What are we looking at here? Language and style, messages and channels, the accessibility of your stakeholder engagement programs, the cost efficiency, your consistency and transparency. Are you communicating to all your stakeholders? Have you defined them for us? Do we know what their understanding is? Do we know what their attitudes are? Do we know what they need to know? When it comes to messaging, we're looking at rules, benefits, and procedures, financial performance and the investment processes, discretion and choices, governance and management. What external influences are playing on your stakeholders? Are you considering your stakeholders' well-being in your engagement with them? Thank you, Anthony. Let's have a look at the second category, which is financial management and reporting. We look for here. Thank you. We're looking for accountability. We're looking for the timeliness of your reporting. Again, we're looking at the inclusion of all your stakeholders. Particularly in this category, we look at legibility and understandability. How are you reporting in terms of financial management and reporting? Are you using plain English and style, which will be understandable to all your stakeholders? What information are you presenting? Are you presenting trustees and auditors' reports? Are you providing your stakeholders with information on the security of their assets? Do they know the stewardship of their fund? Who's involved? Are we looking at investment reports, obligations, and liabilities? Are we providing the full gamut of the information we should when it comes to reporting on our financial management, and are we including all our stakeholders? Thank you, Anthony. Right, trustee education and development. In terms of the research we've done, this is a category which requires a lot of effort. Let's have a look at what we look for there. In terms of your entry, have you assessed your trustees' developmental and information needs? Are there training profiles and continuous professional development in place? Are your trustees being evaluated on performance, their duty of care, their duty of loyalty, their duty of prudence, ESG, compliance, reputation? What sort of evaluation is being done? Is it peer group? Is it 360? How do you know what their developmental needs are? Looking in terms of the content of some best practices, trustee development initiatives, this is the type of content that's in. Benefits administration, disability and insured benefits, asset allocation, financial reporting, business conduct and ethics is crucial. Actuarial principles and funding practices, vendor selection and tender processes. Let's have a look at the category of investment practices. In terms of, we look at statutory and regulatory compliance, appropriate advisors and professionals, regular review of investment portfolios, and policies and mandates. Include those with your expectations, benchmarks, and measurement. Are your investment portfolios aligned to fund membership? Is there evidence of sustainable performance? Let's have a look at risk management. Is there risk management of investment? Is there communication and reporting to all stakeholders? Does this include the name of investment advisors, targeted benchmarks, custodians, risk levels, social investment policy? Transformation. Let's have a look at transformation. That's a lovely visual, Anthony. Who, what, why, or how is being transformed? Is this transformation strategy or program linked to fund policy? Is it linked to the overall business strategy of the fund itself? Most importantly, does it include clearly defined and measurable goals and objectives? Are all stakeholders clearly identified in your transformation program and classified in terms of that demographic and psychographic criteria? Does the strategy include regular assessment of stakeholder needs and opinion? Does it include measurement of strategy on desired goals and objectives? Is implementation of the strategy cost effective? And does it include regular scheduled communication? Governance. The most important, not the most important, the granddaddy of all categories. Let's have a look at governance. Anthony, can we move into the next slide, please? In terms of your governance, is there statutory and regulatory compliance? Is there compliance with the latest legislation and legislative turnaround time? Is there incorporation of a code of conduct for the board, roles, duties, and obligations? Is there elimination of conflict of interest in board selection and other processes? Is there clear demonstration of independence? Are there policies and mandates for board and subcommittees in place, including functions, scope, and authority? Are all fees declared? What about risk management processes and controls? Critical. Is there annual appraisal of board performance? And are there developmental plans and programs based on sound evaluation? That takes care of our subcategories. And I hope I haven't alarmed you that all of these things have to be in place. Remember, this is a checklist. It's a checklist that our judges use, and it's a formula that you can have a look at as you put your programs in. One of your programs could clearly just address one of those needs, but bear them in mind. Let's have a look at the gold standard, the ultimate trophy, where we believe that funds who have entered have met the criteria for all the 6 subcategories. Anthony, thank you. The gold standard starts with sound governance, moves through financial management and reporting, investment practices, trustee development. It incorporates transformation and change resilience, and it's bound together with that all-important catalyst of effective stakeholder engagement and education to influence both attitudes and behavior in a positive manner in terms of the retirement sector. Thank you, Anthony. So, I hope this helps. I hope what I have said will assist you in preparing your entries. And please, I am here to help. I'm here to help as you prepare your entries and give advice. You have my email address, which Anthony has given you at the beginning, and it will be my pleasure and privilege to assist you if you have any queries in terms of preparing those entries. As your program moderator and a judge, my judging panel and I look forward to seeing your world-class initiatives. As Anthony said in that earlier clip from last year's video, I do judge in a number of local and international awards panels and have served as the executive international chairperson of a international professional body. And I have seen a lot of entries over the years, not quite 32 hands, but the years that I have judged. And honestly, some of the stuff that I have seen that has come through in IRFA's program ranks among the best of the best, top quality. So congrats. So good luck, and I look forward to seeing your entries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you very much. And that isn't quite Stephanie there, but over to the participants. If you have any questions, please. I haven't seen any raised in the Q&A at this stage. We will give you a few minutes just to formulate them. If you do have any, please feel free. I see we have some in the chat. Firstly, Corin asks, good morning, can we please have a copy of the presentation? Yes, of course, we will make that available through the Secretariat, and you're most welcome to that. We will distribute it in a PDF form, I think. That seems to be the only question, Steph. Is there anything else you'd like to add from your side, Steph?
No,
Right,
not at all. Just, it's great to see everybody.
Okay, thank you. And then Wayne is also present as a panelist. Wayne is the manager of the IRFA offices and the CEO. Wayne, would you just like to add anything before we close off?
No, Ant, other than thank you for everyone for participating, and we are here to support you. Stephanie Coliso, who's online here managing this for us, there's a whole infrastructure of support. And I think reach out. I think often, you're talking about, being a bit cautious or scared when you start off the first time. It's like anything, you have to just do it. You have to start somewhere and touch my chance, like you said, without that, taking the opportunity to go out there and test your work.
Thanks, Wayne. Thank you. And yes, of course, thank you to the ladies in the office. There's Kaliso, there's Pucci and Caesar, and they take care of our webinars. Of course, this isn't the only webinar that happens from the IRFA. There are many of them. Most of them are under the direction of Wayne, which is why I asked him to speak so that you can see him. And he very competently handles a number of subjects throughout the year. So please feel free, watch your mail, make sure you do attend some of those webinars where they're of interest. There is one question from Chanel Suka. She says, to clarify, if you are entering the gold standard, then each category submission is limited to 6 pages. Is this correct? Would you like to just answer openly on that one, Stephanie?
Yes, thank you, Anthony. I have already typed a response, but yes, it is correct. Your subcategories, these 6 subcategories, your work plan is limited to 4 pages. But when it comes to the gold standard, your work plan is 6 to 8 pages.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Cheryl Ward, for your comments on the chat. Cheryl Ward is the new board member at the RFA, so we also congratulate her on her appointment there. All right, if there are no further questions, then I would like to say thank you, everyone, for your attendance. And we will see you next time. We will await your entries. Today is the early bird closing date, but watch your mail. You'll find there are a few more dates. So if you pay us a bit more money, you can take a bit more time. So in my experience, I always pay the more money, and I take the more time because it's valuable to have up-to-date information, and definitely that measurement. Please do not forget that measurement. Thank you, everybody. Yes. Thank you, everybody. It's a goodbye from me. It's a yes from Stephanie. Was it a goodbye? And thank you all for attending. Most lovely to interact with you today. Cheerio.